Okay, people, so now it is July 27th, July 29th, same day. Somebody asked me to make a comment regarding this article that she came across with Cleveland? What state did it happen? I started reading through it. I didn't read through it all because I thought if I'm going to talk about it, I'll read and talk about it. So I don't have to read twice. The whole thing. I won't read the whole thing. I'll just read some of it. Cleveland. Newly unsealed documents in a landmark lawsuit Tuesday in Cleveland show the pressure within drug companies to sell opiates in the face of numerous red flags during the height of the epidemic. America's largest drug companies saturated the country, and this is Canada too, people. Don't be fooled. With 76 billion opiate pills from 2006 to 2012. According to previously undisclosed federal data obtained by the Washington Post. Few places were hit harder than Southwest Virginia, where pills flooded into rural communities and death rates from opiates soared. Okay, keep in mind, we're talking from 2006 to 2012. In the year 2000, 2001, 2003, the methamphetamine epidemic was on the rise in the United States. In Canada, it didn't hit the scene, people, I'm telling you, until after Gordon Campbell with the BC Liberal government was elected into office as a premier of this province in 2001. And within the year, Bill Clinton came over from the United States of America and had some sort of conference with this premier. And by 2003, we had thousands of kids addicted to methamphetamine from the ages of 11 and up. Sierra happened to be one of those that got caught up in that situation that was introduced to her through the school system. And of course, because methamphetamine, which is the equivalent of speed, as some people would know it from the 60s, you know, when you don't have that problem in your community and you think your kids are safe, I mean, what? They're going to come into a little bit of pot, maybe go smoke some tea bags, maybe go smoke some tall grass, you maybe try some nutmeg, puke it up, right? The last thing you're thinking of a 13-year-old coming into contact with is methamphetamine. But by 2003, I'm telling you, I used to run the streets at 4 o'clock in the morning chasing a band of kids from the ages of 11 up to 15, 16. There was like 20 of them, all addicted to methamphetamine, trying to get my daughter to break away from that group and come home. I would go to a woman's house, she was Native, and bang on her door, asking for my daughter to come out. And by this time, now she's 14, okay? It started when she was 13, and for the first 6 months to almost a year or whatever, a while anyway, I didn't know, people, because you don't think that a 13-year-old is going to come into contact with speed. I never even seen what cocaine looked like until I was 25, people. 25 years old. And you want to know how I came into contact with it? Seriously? In those days, I did a little bit of dancing, like ooh la la, you know, dancing? Right? Because I had 2 kids. No, one. I had one, Brooks. right? This was before I became a costume maker, right? And, you know, I went out of town for a week, up into the boonies, some little hick town, right? And I left Brooks with a babysitter and whatnot. And so at the time I had a boyfriend who happened to be Sierra's dad, right? I'm going to tell you this story. And what do you call it? Just a bunch of shit was going on. So I worked my week, and I was going to take a bus home on Sunday, right? But because there was all this shit going on at the house where I was, you know, my place, right? I had rented a 3-bedroom townhouse, and I rented out a room as well. Actually, I had several people move in and out of that place. So anyway, long story short, you know, I wanted to get home as fast as I could, but I couldn't leave until Sunday, until the bus was ready to go back from where I was, and it was a 5-hour ride or whatever it was on a bus, right? But the girl that was working with me that week, she was going back to Victoria, and she offered for me to catch a ride with her. And I was eager to get home, right? Because of the shit that was going on. And I said, yeah, okay, let's do that. That would be great. I need to get home fast, ASAP. Okay. Now, you have to remember, people, I have never seen anybody do any cocaine of any type. Now, that's not to say I haven't been around people that did cocaine, right? But I, myself, never seen it, never participated in it. For whatever reason, I just never was, even though other people were doing it, I never came into contact with it. So I had absolutely zero experience, right, regarding this matter. So she says, before we leave, I said, okay, let's load up the car, okay. I said, okay, you ready to go? Let's go, right? And she said, no, I got to do something first. And I said, well, what? Now, this girl had bruises on her body when she was dancing, but again, I didn't know anything, people, right? She explained it off as whatever, right? If I asked her, I don't remember, so long ago. So, anyway, I said, well, what are you going to do? And she said, well, just hold on a minute. So she runs into the bathroom, and she turns on the tap, right? So the water's running. And then she pulls out, like, an injection needle and some Coke. And I'm like, by this, I'm just standing there, like, I'm at the door, and I'm watching her, people, because I've never seen anything like this before. This is the first time I've ever seen anything like this. And she shot up. I should have just not gotten into her car, people. I did offer to drive. I said, look, you know, are you sure you're okay to drive? Because I can drive. Oh, no, I'm fine. I can drive my own car. It's my car. And of course, I'm thinking I got to get home, so I'm willing to risk it. She says she's fine. You know, she's been dancing all week, right? She didn't fall off the fucking stage. So, you know, she must be fine to drive. She drove the car there. And all I can think about is getting home a little sooner than Sunday evening, right? Because we were going to leave Saturday night. What a mistake that was, people. I got into the car with her, and what it was this little Pinto. If you remember those little hatchback Pintos, oh my God. It was just a little teeny weeny Pinto, right? And we're up in the mountains on the island, actually dancing up in Port Alberni, from where Uncle John grew up, right? And you coming down the mountain, it's windy, right? It's like really windy, like this. You're coming down the hill with lots of trees, and it's a freaking highway, and it's dark, right? And what did she do, people? What the hell did she do? She started to fishtail with the car. Because coming down, somehow she lost control and it started to fishtail. And I'm telling her, to take her foot off the brake because she'd put her foot on the brake, and I'm screaming, take your foot off the brake. And then she's going, and I'm like, take your hands off the steering wheel. Stop. Next thing you know, we roll off the fucking mountain, 150 feet down, or however freaking far it was. I know it was far. And we're rolling, right? So I'm like this with my window smashing out and shit as we're going down the fucking, I don't know what you call it, mountain. And then the car stops, and we did land straight. And I go, are you okay? And she goes, yeah, are you okay? And I said, yeah, but the thing was the motor was smoking. It was smoking. And I said, we need to get the hell out of here. So she says, yeah. So we just I crawled out of the window because my window smashed out. I don't know how she got out. I just know that we got out and we started climbing up the mountain. And then by the time we got up the mountain and was standing on the road waiting for a car to come, the car like literally caught on fire and went poof. That was my first experience with cocaine, people. Even though people around me had been doing it, I myself never came into contact with it until age 25. So you tell me, how is it that 12, 11, and 13-year-olds are coming into contact with methamphetamine, which is a speed, which is worse than cocaine in all aspects of the word drugs? Methamphetamine on a regular basis has got to be one of the worst drugs to use because what it does is it eats the bones from the inside out. That's why people that do methamphetamine over a long period of time end up losing all their teeth because their bones are becoming rotten. And this is what flooded my community in 2003. It was starting coming in 2002. And then by 2003, I'm running down the fucking road, chasing after 20 methamphetamine drug-addicted kids just to get mine out of that group. It was stupid, people, because they're fucking crazy kids when they're doing shit like that. And the people that were giving these kids the drugs were not going to jail. And no disrespect for anyone of Aboriginal descent, but for the families that I came into contact with, people, I found that there were certain individuals of Aboriginal heritage that were allowed to keep their children despite what the fuck was going on. And not only were they allowed to keep their children, because it's a different child protection services, right? They have the Native Affairs, and then they have for everybody else, right? Two of those individuals, Norma and, oh God, what's his name? Jimmy. Like, they were getting their kids to fucking sell drugs for them. And Jimmy was having sex with little 14-year-olds. And, you know, Norma was getting all the kids to run around and steal handbags from old people walking down the road and coming back with the handbags. And when I'd come be banging on the door, trying to get my daughter out of there, calling the fucking cops, people. Sierra was 14 years old. I'm calling the cops, banging on the door at 2 o'clock in the morning, saying, open up the door. I want my daughter. The cops are coming. The cops fucking show up, and this woman fucking talks behind the door, doesn't even bother opening up the fucking door, and then stands there and says, well, Sierra's 14. She can make her own decisions. She doesn't want to come out. So I look at the cop and I say, well, are you going to go get me my daughter? Well, technically by law, she's 14 and we don't have to take her out. I said, but you do realize what the hell is going on in there, right? Oh, well, it's private property. Like, my daughter as a drug addict was created by the very systems that are employed to protect the public, including children. Because they didn't take her out. They used some fucking federal law that was meaningless. Right? She's 14. She can make her own decisions. She doesn't have to come out. She can stay in there and be pimped and given methamphetamines to keep her fucking strung out, and to be told to go off and rob people's handbags and shit like that. And because she's 14, she can make those decisions for herself. The fucking cops walked away. That's why I was running down the road trying after 20 fucking kids as they're jumping over fucking fences, down fucking gullies, and I'm chasing them to get my daughter back. As I've got the Jimmy coming down my fucking alley riding his bike with a fucking axe, making threats to go after the kids that owe him $20 because, he gave them some drugs. Where was social services there? And this dude had murdered somebody. Spent 12 years in fucking jail, but because he was a native, he got special treatment, people. And through that special treatment, a lot of kids are sick today, if they're still alive, because of him and Norma. Those types of people, regardless of their fucking heritage. I don't care if they're Punjabi. I don't care if they're fucking Czechoslovakian. I don't care if they're freaking Aboriginal. I don't care what the hell they are. Those kind of people, the cops need to need to do something about. But they don't want to, though, people. They don't want to. They need the little serial errors in the world, because I'll tell you why they need the little serial errors in the world. And this what is it called? Article is exactly it. Because the opiate crises, so-called, started in 2006 and ended in freaking, 2012. But if you notice, by 2012, if not a little sooner than that, hit heroin. Because this stuff is all pre-planned on a 25-year governmental fucking projection. Just like they know that they're coming in with 15 to 20 years of baby boomers flooding the healthcare system, and the ones with the money are demanding the best care with the best of this and the best of that, because they're the epitome of working hard over the years because they've got good government pension plans. Because it's the government union pension plan that provides the most security for 400,000 government employees in the province of British Columbia, Canada, year after year after year, as the baby boomers are leaving the system, new ones are coming in. So as these baby boomers are leaving, because of this entitlement mentality they have, obviously it's there in the private sector too, but with the good pensions, the Eleanors, right? They want to make sure that if they need a fucking kidney, they're going to get it. So how do you get a kidney when nobody's coughing one up? How do you get a kidney when the younger generation is basically healthy because they have clean water access to, right? They have access to general immunizations that protect them from diseases, measles and all those other things, right? They have reasonable access to good food on a regular basis where they're not starving and emaciated. So, what's going to kill off the 15-year-olds to the 30-year-olds? Because that's the prime group that's dying with the fentanyl crises right now, not including what started off in 2006. Under another